You do realize when they did the Come Back Home initiative, apologizing to black people and offering free citizenship, you do realize that was all about what's happening now, which is heavy taxation, which is to continue what has always been done to African Americans. Did you really think that the same people who sold your ancestors into slavery were truly apologetic? They will welcome you back home to do it again. They don't care about the color of your skin. They care about the color of the money that's in your wallet. Because you know that to build an economy, to build a country, taxes is the best way to do it. Taxes in the Ministry of Tourism. That's why I say all the black people from Love and Hip Hop, all the black people in Hollywood, they're going to Ghana for what? So the scam can continue? To keep the scam alive? Listen, this topic is so serious, I had to take my glasses off. Hi, somebody who lived in Ghana for 2 years. One of the worst experiences of my life. There are many layers to that situation. The best way I can say is it was giving very Joseph, okay? It was giving Joseph, honey. Another conversation for another day. The experiences were so bad till this day. I'm still praying God to heal me from those experiences and those memories. I have never met a more, we're going to leave that because this can go left. They sold you into slavery the first. Let me also tell you what's happening spiritually. You do realize that something in your background is calling you all this time. Because here's the thing, African Americans, because a lot of people's history, if you don't know, because of lack of records, lack of understanding, broken families, all of that was very systematic and done purposely to African Americans because they didn't want you to be able to trace back. Because if you can trace back your inheritance, you can demand your inheritance. That's number one. Number two, African Americans really struggle with a lack of identity. I think we've done a decent job in, trying to create our own culture in X, Y, and Z. But there is still something on the inside of people where they want to know where they're from, great-great-grandparents, they want to know, where did I come from? Because the truth of the matter is slavery was not the beginning of our story. Okay. Number three, people prey on that. And that feeling, that emotion, that void was preyed on. And they know it. And that's why it's been successful thus far. No offense. Unless we go to Antarctica, I don't know where we're going as black people because we're treated like this everywhere we go. Including Africa. I was never comfortable there. I'm going to tell you right now, Accra prepared me for Atlanta. Let me say it again. Accra prepared me for Atlanta. The only thing different is the accents. Listen, they need to call it Love and Hip Hop Accra edition. Love and Hip Hop Accra. Because it's the same foolery. They just got accents. It's the same foolishness. Black people, our only safety is in the name of the Lord our God. Y'all better quit playing and chasing after all these other guys and doing foolish things that got us in trouble in slavery the first time. I'm gonna even give you an example. There are certain things that I've been struggling with the last couple of years. The Lord spoke to me. I kept thinking about did a group tour to Amina Castle. And I kept thinking about it. I don't know. I kept thinking, I was like, why is this coming to my memory? And I was praying about something and the Lord said, really deal with anything that reactivated old covenants in your background. I kid you not. Yeah, I gotta find this video because I found a video where the gentleman, I'm telling you, within 48 hours, he did a video on the very thing God spoke to me on. If I can find it, I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna insert it here now.
There are evil altars that are hurting those of you who can trace your lineage back to the transatlantic slave trade. There is a reason that black people worldwide deal with nearly all of the same struggles. There are altars in Africa that are still connected to you via slavery. These altars bring favor to the altar priest and bring misfortune to the African diaspora. So before our ancestors were placed on slave ships, they were abused and held within deplorable conditions within slave castles.
But at the coast of Ghana are a number of ancient castles and forts, marking the beginning of the slave's perilous journey during the era of the slave trade. These fortresses were the last memory the slaves had of their homeland before being shipped off across the Atlantic, never to return again.
Many of these castles still stand today. In Ghana, before the castles were built by the Europeans, local fetish priests, which you would know as a witch doctor, right, showed the Europeans where to build the castle. So if you can envision these local priests, local fetish priests, witch doctors are telling these Europeans, hey, you should build this castle right here, build this slave castle right here. But the land that these fetish priests would say, you know, go build the castle right here, this is land where spirits were inhabiting already, right? They chose land where there is a spirit that lived there, because spirits have different areas in jurisdiction. The spirits that were on that land were spirits of bondage. These are the same spirits from Mark 5 that had a man living amongst the tombs in the cemetery. His mind was in bondage. The man was constantly placed in chains and shackles, but would break free, right? Night and day, it says, among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. The man lived in bondage, and the collective name of the spirits that kept the man bound was named Legion. The spirits located on the land where the castles were built also contained Legion bondage spirits. Upon examination of the Legion spirit, you will notice that after they were cast into pigs, they ran into the sea, the water. The spirits on the land where the castles were built all lived right by the water, aka the coastline. This is because they are marine spirits. In fact, there are 77 spirits of the Cape Coast. Inside of these slave castles are altars to different spirits. This right here is an altar right here itself. You will see alcohol on it and different things and gifts they give to these spirits. But this is to the spirit Nana Tabir, which is one of the 77 Cape Coast spirits. In fact, this is going to be if you take a tour of the Cape Coast Castle, this is your first stop, I believe. And while you're on that tour, they're giving you the tour. The guide may give you the option to give offerings to the local deity or to the ancestors. And you're looking at the real altars. But what they don't tell you is that when you do give money and donate to these things, that you are coming in covenant with a demon. This sister went to one of the slave castles, and you can see how it affected her and her family spiritually. This is a spiritual issue, right? When our ancestors were kept at these slave castles, they and their bloodlines were dedicated to the spirits of bondage and slavery. If you look at the descendants of slavery globally, you will see that the spirits followed us. No matter what country you look at, you will find the diaspora in bondage.
God, I knew God was confirming. There are certain things, leave it alone. It's just lack of identity. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, may the Lord settle black people. May the Lord settle us individually in our families, where we know who we are and we know whose we are. We belong to Yahweh. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I ain't none of them weird pro-black people. I'm just saying it the way it is. Y'all use wisdom out there. If you want to go to Ghana, go. That's your business. But I want you to go and to be prepared and to know what is on the other side. It is not home. Everybody's experience is a little bit different. For me, no, thank you. I take my chances in America. Let me tell y'all something else. That's why Africans, y'all saw Black Panther. That's why we got some Killmonger type of ways. Stop making villains. Stop making villains and acting like you didn't put your Panther claws into the chest of somebody's daddy generations ago and trying to act like you don't know what happened. They sold you into slavery the first time. You don't think they were not willing to do it again for some money? Yo.